On a scale of 1 to 10, how bad is your hangover? 1 being what you thought, bitch, where? And 10 being, I think I'm going to fucking die.
So, I will say, first of all, you don't know what a hangover is anymore.
No.
You've forgotten what they were.
Forgot.
So, lucky you. Secondly, rude. And thirdly, I'd say, like, when I woke up, I was at like a 2. I was like, Jesus, I'm grand. Just a bit tired. And now I'm fading like a flare. I'm like a 6.
Oh.
Or a 7.
And are we on the rise?
I don't think so, no. This will be tough.
Let's do it! Hello, and you are very welcome along to the Unpopular Opinion podcast. My name is Jen.
And I'm Carla.
That's Carla.
That's me.
That's Carla. And this week we are talking about all things relationships, really, these days.
Relationships and romance, romantic relationships.
They're very musical these days, Carla. She's singing everything.
Oh, yeah.
Not a fucking note in her head, but she's still trying.
No, not a note.
A1 for effort. A1 for
Cat
effort.
on a tin roof.
What's the story? You and Tom met online, didn't you?
We did, yeah. Me and Tom are a Tinder love story.
A Tinder love story.
Yeah.
That lasted.
Gas.
Fab.
Yeah.
Take me from the beginning.
Let's go back. Sorry, my tit just nearly knocked over the microphone there. My bad. Me and Tom met on Tinder. I was in the UK and I was swiping away. And I was about to board my plane and my mate was with me. My mate Shauna was actually with me, and she was like, I remember seeing him and being like, meh.
No way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Swipe or no swiping? Did you swipe left or right?
And Shauna reached over and was like, he's nice shoulders, and swiped.
Fuck off. Does Tom notice?
Yeah.
Well, he will now.
Now, in all fairness, lads, and I will say this is so funny because I was with one of my friends in Cork and she was saying it to me the other day. Tom's a lot better looking in person.
Tom is very cute.
But he's a lot better looking in person. Like, the lad and he knows himself. He's fucking tragic in photos. Like,
oh, is he?
Oh, he's.
I never noticed.
Where's the photos? What photos have you seen of him?
That's true.
Yeah, you don't see him.
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was so funny because my mate one was like much taller, much better looking. I was like, yeah.
Wow. Right.
He just doesn't translate into. He knows it. Like, he says it all the time. He's like, "Why am I so ugly in photos?" And I'm like, can't fucking help you there, sausage chicken. But yeah. So I was just like not really arsed. Then we started chatting in the Tinder chat. But what I was doing at that point is I was like trying to, like, my mates used to rip me out of it because I had like a million matches.
Right.
I had so many fucking matches.
Okay.
And I remember I was like, this is getting hectic.
Would you find it confusing, like, trying to, obviously your conversation history is there, but would you find it hard to keep up?
Yeah.
Would you?
Yeah.
God.
That was like back in the day though. Like, that was Tinder 20, when did me and Tom meet? 2014.
5
Me and
years
Tom
ago.
got together. Yeah.
Wow.
2014. So our Tinder anniversary will be this January 2020. 6 years. We'll have known each other.
What made you go on Tinder in the first place?
Funny story. So I was dating a lot back then. So when I was younger, I was in a relationship until on and off from 16 to 20. So I kind of like didn't really have them teenage years of like going out, going rasher. Like, I did a little bit because every time we break up there'd be, you know what I mean? They're like, but then I was single from 20 to 24. Yeah. So me and Tom were talking for 9 months before we actually got together. So
Really?
yeah, long time.
Wow.
So I'm like, oh, I've known him since I was 23, but I was 24, like 24 when I got with him. So that 20 to 24, I was single.
Wow.
Which are like,
They're the best years of your life,
best years,
though.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. That's why it's so funny because I'm like, oh my God, like, has he stolen my fucking 20s? But then at the same time, I'm like,
No,
I've had that.
That was a good 4 years.
It was a great 4 years, yeah. It was a messy 4 years though. Like looking back, and I used to date a lot, and I worked in Lush at the time, and it was a real great place because I was working in town, so I'd go on dates after town, or like after work all the time, because I'd be like, that's grand. Like I was on Grafton Street, so I used to go out, and one of the lads one of my mates, Paul, he's always like, haha, it's actually me who got you your husband. I'm like, haha, shut the fuck up. But he was like, I saw an article and it was about Tinder, and I was sitting down in the lunchroom, and it was like this couple were the first couple to get married off Tinder.
Yeah.
So Tinder was American, wasn't it? And it kind of started, it kind of started 2013,
There was
2012 kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then it was like the first Tinder marriage. And there was an article written about it, I don't know where, and I remember reading it and being like, that's bollocks. And then Paul, I remember he was like, why is it bollocks? And I was like, sure, you hardly met your husband through a dating app. And he was like, Carla, you'd go to a club, chat to a lad, not know anything about him, probably kiss him, and then go on a date with him and figure out that you would know nothing there. And I was like, yeah, true. And he was like, why wouldn't you chat to them first and then decide if you wanted to have a coffee with them?
Yeah.
And I just didn't think, I don't know why, it was like brain explosion.
I think it is that kind of, well, it's not that it's a fear of the unknown, but when something new comes out, it's like, would never.
Instagram.
Yeah.
Social media.
It is. It's gas. Like, because then you never believe in anything when it's brand new. But now it's like, there's so many couples that have lasted the years throughout meeting
online.
on Tinder.
Wasn't it kind of a thing, right? Because obviously me and Tom were purely Tinder, and I hadn't done any online dating whatsoever before that. Tinder was my first, because I feel like it was cool, it was current, it was like the thing you got it on your phone. It was an app.
It was an app as opposed to like Plenty of Fish or Match.com.
Yeah. And it was like a bit trendier, wasn't it?
Yeah,
and it was kind of like easy. On my iPhone 4, I think I had 3, probably had a 3 or 4 at the time. And I remember just after that being like, fuck it, maybe I'll download it. So I downloaded it, and I remember the first guy I ever chatted to, well, his name was Paul as well, funny enough. And I remember he was like, oh yeah, grand, like maybe we'll meet during the week. I was like, oh yeah, I work in town, so I'll see you in town, because that's what I do. And then that night he was like, any chance you're out tonight? And I was like, oh fuck's sake. I remember just being like, no, I'm not out tonight. He was like, all right, do you want to come over to mine later? I was like, no, what is this?
Oh God.
Yeah, no. I remember being like, this isn't. I remember saying to Paul in work the next day, being like, well, this is really cool. He was like, just keep going. It's fine, just keep going.
Yeah. So you needed to be kind of... Yeah, how long were you on Tinder before you met Tom?
Well, so I would have downloaded Tinder in the
Oh yeah.
In the January, yeah. And then I would have been probably on it around 5 weeks.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
4 maybe.
That's mad.
Yeah, and I think I dated 4 people from it.
Okay.
Tom being one of the 4.
And it's mad that you lasted, given that you are from different countries, and...
It's fucking mad, because he was actually in Newcastle. So he was 5 hours away, and I was in Stansted.
Yeah.
So he was 5 hours away. And I don't know how it was set the way it was set, do you know what I mean? But
yeah,
it
that
just,
was that
like,
far. Yeah.
Because I remember he was like, I was playing Tinder on the way home. Like, we were driving back. And he was like, but the miles, you know the way you set the miles radius thing? So there was like a cock up there. Wow. So I remember I got back and he was like, oh yes, where'd you live? I was like, Dublin. He was like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, but we never thought it was going to be a thing. We clearly didn't think that we were going to be.
That's mad. And how did you end up pursuing it then? Like, what was your first actual physical face-to-face date then?
So we chatted for 5 months before we met up. Yeah. So this episode's probably going to be like me and Tom's story, but we chatted for 5 months before we met up, because we were consistently... Sorry, there's like a little midgie. But we were kind of chatting all the time, but it was one of those things, I think it was really easy to like really get to know him, because we just didn't think it was going anywhere.
Yeah.
Because we were like, we live in different countries.
You had nothing to lose kind of thing.
I had literally nothing to lose with him. Whereas I was dating other people off Tinder at the time, and he was dating a few people off Tinder as well. So we used to talk to each other about like how our dates were going and stuff.
No way.
Yeah,
That's gas.
Like, it was gas. Like, we knew we were attracted to each other, but we just didn't really know like what that meant for us, like where it was going to go. So we kind of like, I remember he set the pace. I remember he was like, oh, I'm going on a date now. And I was like, okay, cool, this is where we are. Do you know what I mean? I was like, okay, this is how we chat then, you know?
Yeah.
Because like before I would have been like, I was like, oh, I'll talk to you tomorrow, I'm out now. I wouldn't be like, I'm going on a date.
Yeah.
His name's Dan. Do you know what I mean?
That just seems like a really unlikely relationship that you were like that.
Yeah.
That didn't happen.
No.
So how did you end up?
So I was dating. There was kind of like we had a couple of like headbangers in the middle. Like we were never just like, oh, this is great, this is great. Like me and Tom fought.
That's gas.
Without knowing each other. Without meeting each other, sorry.
Yeah.
But like it was all that kind of bullshit. So back then you have to remember we had Snapchat, and do you remember the top 3? You could see the best friends.
Yeah.
See, you've been with Adam so long, you didn't fucking have to deal with any of this shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we were all good. We were all G for a while. I remember he was like working on nights, and then like I remember seeing like a few his top friends would change, like a few of them. And I was like, oh, right, very good, yeah. Very good, yeah. I'll keep an eye on those girls. So obviously Google them, fucking Instagram them. I was like checking them out, just making sure everything's peachy, making sure the likes on Instagram, the comments added up, everything added up. And I think the first thing was, I think it was Feb. And one of the lads that I went to college with had been at me for ages. He was like, I want to take you out, I want to take you out, I want to take you out. We were actually on Tinder, funny enough. And he was like, finally you fucking swiped for me. Because I used to delete, upload, delete, upload, delete, upload. Yeah. So even if you swiped left, if you re-uploaded the app, those people would come back up if they'd swiped for you.
Okay.
Yeah. So I remember just being like, no, not arse, not getting into that. Like, he just had a bit of a rep, and I was just like, I'm not really fucking arsed with that kind of crack. I was like, I kind of know you didn't really like you in college, don't really know what you think we'd be great romantically. And me and Tom were going back and forth, and there was one night out, he went on a night out, and he was like chatting to me anyway, and he called me that night at like 5 a.m. Him and his mates were like, oh yeah, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm just going home now. And I was like, oh, very good. Like, we used to chat, you know, but like, we didn't really talk that much on the phone. We'd only text, but I think that night he was just locked. So he was like, fuck it, I'll give her a call. So that was all grand. Next day, 9 a.m, I was in work. I was working in Boots at the time. And he was like, I was up. And I was like, why are you up so early? And he was like, oh yeah, I'm just up early, blah, blah, blah. Then fast forward a week, we're chatting. He was like, can I ask your opinion on something? I was like, yeah. And he was like, I slept with a bird last weekend. And I was like, sorry, what? He was like, yeah, I slept with a bird last weekend, and she kind of like, I don't really know how to let her down gently. So I was like, screenshot me the messages. And I was like, sorry, when? And he was like, last Saturday night. And I was like, the night that you were calling me at 5 a.m.
Oh, God.
And he was like, yeah. And I was like, oh, this is where we are. Oh, this is us. Oh, cool. Oh, I didn't realise we were so cool and chill with each other. So I remember he screenshotted me the messages, and it was bad. Like, I felt bad for her. Now, in all fairness, he's a cold creature, and I know he's a cold creature, so I felt bad for her, because I was like, But he was just like, here, listen, like, because she was like, what happens now with us since last weekend? And he was like, nothing.
Oh, God. At least he was being honest. He was the most honest ghost ever.
I know, but I was like marking him then. I was just like, I see what kind of person you are. But I was like, at least I'll always know where I stood. So all that happened. So once that happened, I remember texting your man from college and being like, Grant, pick me up now. I was like, you can pick me up in an hour. He was like, finally. I was like, yeah, Grant. So then we just ended up, we dated for like a week or two or something. And then again, it kind of got real weird. Then he went cold on me for like 2 weeks. So you have to remember, we spoke every single day, like all day, every day. We chatted about everything. And then he went cold on me for like 2 weeks where we didn't speak. And I remember just being like, fuck this. And I was actually really upset. I was living with my mate Shauna at the time, and she was like, call him. And I was like, what? And she was like, just call him. So I ended up calling him. And then after that was when we kind of picked up and we were like, right, this is something. And then he kind of like, he was like, I wasn't sure about your commitment. And he was like, as much as you think that you were like an angel, he was like, you absolutely weren't. Yeah. And he was like, as much as you think that you were like, your cards were all there, he was like, I had no fucking clue. You were still very much doing your own thing. I could see you on Facebook, Instagram, chatting, writing comments, liking pics, doing whatever as well. He was like, so it's not really just one-sided here. I was like, fair. So that was grand. And then I think the biggest test for us was I went on a date with a guy really randomly in May. I was studying for my exams, for my public relations exams, and he was like, fuck it, we'll go for McFlurry. So we went for a McFlurry, and I remember I was chatting on the phone to Tom, and he was like, what are you doing now? And I was like, oh, I'm just going on a date. And he was like, what? Oh. And I was like, yeah, I'm just going on a date. And he was like, okay, with a guy? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, right, okay. Oh. And it was like real. Like,
the jealousy was kicking in.
Yeah. And I remember just being like, okay, this is really weird. And I remember fucking weirdest date. Like, I'll chat to you in a bit about that fucking date. Weirdest date I've ever been on in my life. I remember coming back and I was howling. I was living with my mate Shauna and in her uncle's house, because he used to live in America, so we used to mind to say, like, we lived in his house. And I remember coming back and we were screaming. And I remember Des being like, sure, give your man Tom a call there and tell him. And then Tom was like, okay, so he was like, that's great. Glad it went shite, but can we stop that now?
Oh, and he was the one that started that.
And he was like, can we stop that now? And I was like, all right, if you want to stop it, we'll stop that. And he was like, I'll book my flights tonight.
Oh.
So he booked his flights for June, and then he came up for a week. I was like, you were bold. He was like, well, I knew. See, the thing is, it's so funny because you know the way girls are like, oh my God, but like, what if it doesn't work out? He was like, well, if it doesn't work out, we're still friendly. Like, we've been chatting for fucking
5 months.
He was like, we've been chatting for 5 months, so like, we'll still have gas time as mates. Like, it's not going to be weird. I just kept being like, this is going to be so weird. I'm meeting a boy off the internet. But it was actually grand.
Yeah,
well, we were in Dublin Airport, and look at us now. Yeah, and then, but it was still weird. We were still like, oh, how is this going to work?
Yeah.
We were like, we couldn't be together. God, no, we couldn't be together. Definitely not. And then we were dating for the whole summer, and then we finally became official in September. So there was a long path there.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm always like, I know Tom, but I know Tom. Yeah. You know, I dealt with all that shit. But there was a lot of like mistrust, I think, in the beginning, just because of how weird it was.
Yeah, well, you were very honest with each other.
Yeah, that was the problem.
That's gas that you couldn't really trust each other, even though you were so fucking honest
with each other. But I was just kind of like, I was so used to not shite relationships, but I was just so used to, I don't know why I had such a distrust for men, as if they fucking ever, like, I've never been cheated on that I know of, but I think I'd know. And I've only ever had 2 relationships, really. Yeah. Just my first boyfriend and Tom. But that's because I wouldn't get into a relationship with anybody else. I used to be seeing people for ages, and then the minute they tried to commit, I'd bounce. I'm a major commitment phobe.
Jesus, yeah.
That's why Tom was like, it took me long enough to actually pin you down. And it did.
Hell, yeah. Madness.
Yeah. What about you and Adam?
So me and Adam, I was with a guy for, I think it was 3 or 4 years. Like, I've never really been single since I was like 16. So I was with a chap. Yeah, I was.
You were one of them, boyfriend girl.
Yeah, I was with him for about 3 or 4 years. That was kind of just like a teenage kind of thing. Like, I can't, looking back now, I can't exactly say that I was in love with him or anything. I was just with.
But at the time, you were like, "There's me fella."
Yeah, we were. I was his bored. He was me fella. Got a little bit. Like, I think we got sick of each other. I can't speak on behalf of him. I don't know.
Do you want to call him?
Personally, got a little bit sick of it. I think it was just childhood kind of sweethearts kind of thing. But the thing with Adam, it was so weird, right? So Adam I lived in Blanche. I initially lived in Finglas, right? Then moved to Blanche, and I was living in Blanche for like loads of years before Adam moved from Finglas to Blanche. So I was working in a Chinese restaurant. This is kind of relevant to the story because it was just mad how it worked out. I was working in a Chinese restaurant, and he was living in the area where the Chinese restaurant was, and I was walking up to work one day, and I spotted him across the road, and I was like, oh, look at him. I was like instantly attracted to Adam. Now, I was still with my other boyfriend at the time. I was only like, when I saw him, what age would I have been? I would have been like 18, 19 when I first like saw Adam.
And
do you know
like,
what I mean?
He's fab.
Oh, he's fab. But, you know, I just thought he looked like Justin Timberlake. I was just, he was just the cutest. He had these big brown eyes, little tan face, always had a baseball cap on him. Like, he was just, I don't know what it was about him.
He's real tanned, isn't he?
He is really tanned, yeah. And,
little tick.
Yeah, little tick. And I was just looking across the road at him because I knew it was weird. It was like something out of a film, because I was like, I haven't seen him around here before. Not that I knew who everybody in the fucking area was in the first place, you know what I mean? But I knew that he was new to the area. It was so weird.
You were new.
Yeah, it was so weird. I was like, oh, no, I haven't seen him.
You were new and I fancy you.
Yeah, haven't seen him around. So that was grand. Didn't even, like, I just kind of saw him from across the road, went to work or whatever. Then a couple of weeks later, me and my friend were down in the Blanche Centre. And our other friend Louise we hung around, but we weren't, like, I wouldn't have known that she had a new boyfriend or anything like that, right?
Okay.
So we were outside the centre, and Louise was there, and our new fella walks up to her. Who was it? Only Adam.
And you were fuming.
I was fuming. I was like...
And I was fuming.
I was like, because I knew exactly who he was. I remembered his face. Like, I was like, oh, and she's with him. That's a bit shit. But who was I to fucking complain? I still had a fella, like, do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? But he was like kind of a bad boy, came across as a bit like, do you remember the bus that used to go around Blanche? It was called Eurobus. Yeah. And it was a euro, and it used to bring you around to all the local estates and stuff like that to bring you to the centre. I just remember him, it was the first thing I've ever heard him say. and he had his arms wrapped around Louise.
Fuming.
Yeah. And the Your bus went past and he goes, "There's your bus." I thought it was the funniest fucking thing.
You're still laughing.
Yeah, because he just went, "There's your bus." It was good. Like, it was called Your Bus, UR, and I was like, "Oh my god, he is fucking amazing."
You're like, oh.
You're like scarlet at me.
You are brilliant.
Oh my god, yeah. He was like, I was like, that was the funniest joke I've ever heard.
Does he know that? Yeah.
Yeah, I've said this to him. But then, so that was grand. That was kind of a few. I don't even know what month that was in. But we went to Adam. Went to school and he left like in third year. I think he got expelled. He was a little shit of a teenager, like
7.
So he wasn't in school or anything like that. But we had all graduated at the same time, and I don't know whether it was the end of the leaving cert or whether it was actual graduation night. But we were all in my other friend Fiona's house, who was also friends with Louise, having just celebrating the end of the year or whatever. And we were all kind of having a few drinks or whatever. And Adam showed up later because Louise was there. My boyfriend was there as well. All of our little boyfriends were there. And Adam had been at the Dublin match all day. And he came in, he was pissed. And, it must have been results night because he asked me how I did. Yeah, it must have been leaving cert results night actually. And
you were like 550 points.
Yeah. Got a distinction in LCA. Not that he fucking knew what that meant, like, you know what I mean? But I was at the counter in the kitchen and I was on my own. I think I was pouring a drink or I was doing something. I was on my own anyway. And he came up to right beside me. He was like, "How did you get on?" And I was like, I told him how I did. I was like, "Oh yeah, I did really well," or whatever. And he went in to give me a kiss on the cheek in front of everyone. Cheeky. Oh, cheeky bastard.
Scandalo.
So it's become apparent to me now that Adam also likes me, right?
Okay. So you're like, "Oh, Louise, we have to get you out of the picture."
Yeah.
And my fella also, who's hanging on.
Yeah, by a thread. Fucking
shit, my fella is also here somewhere.
Yeah. Shit went down, right? Louise didn't say it. Somebody just saw it and told Louise. I didn't do anything. It was Adam was after going in for the kiss, right? But Louise went for me, and I've never been in a Streeling match or a scrap ever. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't. I'm not. It just wasn't that type of thing. Yeah. Like, I wasn't like, "I fucking strain now you." But she came in and she pushed me all the way down the hall. I was petrified. You know that adrenaline that you get when somebody starts a fight, even in the same vicinity as you. I was petrified, and I was like, I didn't do it. Like, he came in for a kiss, secretly fucking delighted that Adam had done it. But I was like, "No, I didn't." Do you know what I mean? You're doing this. But she was like, she was fucking mad to fight me or whatever. So with that, the party ended. My fella wasn't happy, obviously, as well. And I was trying to fight my corner. I was like, "I did not do this. Like, he went in for a kiss. So why am I getting fucking blamed on it? And he's just fucking sauntering down the road there, doesn't give a fuck, pissed off his head."
Yeah.
Right? So that was grand. The next day, I was in work back in the Chinese restaurant. And I was walking up. And he was coming down towards... Like, we passed each other while I was on the way to work. He was on his little push bike, and
this is the best story ever,
isn't it? And it's mad to think like we're having a kid now. Like, it's weird because we were only saying this a couple of weeks ago. I was like, "Adam, do you remember all that happened at the fucking graduation party?" He's like, "I only was thinking the same thing, and now we're having a kid." It's fucking mad. But I was walking up to work, and then he was coming down the same way we passed, and I was like, "Hey, so that was awkward last night." And he was like, "Yeah, I'm really sorry about that." I was like, "Your board's a fucking psycho." Keep in mind, she's my mate. I was like, "Your board's a fucking psycho."
That was a psycho.
But she had fucking gone for me.
She went from Louise, my mate, to your bird's a psycho.
Yeah, but she had fucking pushed me up against the door frame, and like, I was petrified of her. Do you know what I mean? And he was like, "Yeah, no, I'm really sorry I kind of caused that or whatever." And, you know...
Not sorry at all, really.
But he did. He admitted to me that he liked me. Do you know what I mean? He was like, "Yeah, well, like, you know, you're with your man and I'm with her, but I do like it and all that." And I went into work fucking delighted because Louise worked in the same fucking Chinese restaurant as me, and sometimes he'd come up to work.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
And he'd be kind of, you know, giving me little
scandalous.
Yeah. But I see. The funny thing is, I never cheated on my boyfriend with him. Do you know what I mean? Never did it. But. So that was fine. He ended up moving up to Kells then, up with his mate. Didn't live in Blanche anymore. Kind of didn't see him for years. In the meantime, I'd broken up with the fella that I was with. Nothing got to do with Adam or anything like that. We were just kind of broken up, drifted apart or whatever. Same with Louise and Adam. this would have been about a year or two later, and I got a message. I had seen Adam on Bebo, right? And I was like, he's not going to remember me. I'm not going to add him as a friend. He hadn't added me as a friend or anything like that. I just kind of came across. I don't even know how I came across him, but I had seen him on Bebo. I was like, no, I'm not going to add him as a friend. He won't remember me. Then it must have been a couple of weeks later, I got a friend request off Adam, and I got a message saying, all right, stranger. And I was like, oh, this is kind of weird, because I didn't know if he'd remember me or not. And then we just started chatting on Bebo, and it was coming up to his 21st, I think it was, and he invited me up to the 21st, and I couldn't make it, whatever the reason was, but we decided to meet up for a day in Navan, which was kind of a halfway point between Dublin and Kells, and we went on a date, and the rest is history. So there you go.
Been together ever since?
Been together ever since.
Broken up?
11 years. Yes, a couple of times. Nothing too serious that we couldn't come back from, obviously, because look at the situation that we're in now. But
did you have any boyfriends in between?
No. I know, I haven't seen anyone else since I got with Adam, like. Yeah, I don't know if it's the same situation we're in, but like I don't think we were ever broken up long enough to go and see anybody else.
What was the longest amount of time you broke up with him for?
It would have been about 3 weeks. It wouldn't have been much, like.
Yeah.
Do you know? Wouldn't have been much at all. So just through various different, I'm fucking sick of this, do you know, like, and then we lived together for a year as well, and then we went and worked it away in Greece and everything like that. There was a certain point though, after we lived together for a year, we kind of broke up and we were like, this isn't going to work out, like, we're just not getting along here. There was just too much tension in the relationship, and then whatever happened at that point, I think the both of us realised, okay, fuck, can't really get with anybody else, it wouldn't feel right.
Yeah.
I think that was the turning point where the both of us kind of changed and got a bit more mature about the relationship, and ever since then it's been like we don't really even fight. Like if we have a problem, it's like, are you okay? No, I'm not okay. This is my problem. Right, let's resolve it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. We are quite assertive with each other now in comparison to the way we were years ago.
Yeah,
like,
fair enough.
Do you know? But other than that, like, I don't have real... But like you said, because when I broke up with my other boyfriend before I got with Adam, my friend had also done the same, like whatever her situation was. Yeah. They were the best couple of months of our lives, like going around just being fucking mad things.
Being mad things, like
it's more the fact.
It was more the fact. Like it's more the fact that she's like could be chatting to this guy tomorrow and a different one the day after. Yeah. I could do that because I'm me and I'm cool.
Yeah. I went on one date in between those two fellas. I think he fucking found me on, was it MSN? Fucking MSN. Mad. Like, this is how long ago it was, and we went on one date and he started telling me that he wanted to kill himself after his girlfriend had dumped him. That was the end of him. Right,
so you were like, maybe this is not a vibe. You're like, maybe we won't be together, maybe.
But he knew Adam's friend, and a couple of years after me, no, was it a couple of years? About maybe a year after me and Adam had first initially got together, your man that I went on the date with had come across Adam's friend, and he was like, he's with Jen Hatton, isn't he? And his friend was like, yeah. And he goes, oh yeah, he took her off me. No, I'm so sorry for you. No, he didn't. You did that all by yourself.
Gas.
Yeah.
So I was going to say, worst date that you've been on, probably that one.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Probably that one. We're going to say that one, maybe.
Yeah, we're going to say that.
Say possibly that one. Yeah. I'm trying to think the worst date. Like, I've been on some pretty shit dates. One guy told me all about how he was adopted and how thankful he was to his parents and all that first date. God. First, like, hour or two. But it was really in depth, do you know what I mean? I'm kind of streamlining it here. It was really in depth.
Why?
He was so beautiful, though. But it was so, like... I remember just being like, this is really weird.
Yeah.
I remember it was very strange because obviously I worked when I was really young, do you know what I mean? And then I was kind of like, I was always in a manager's position from quite young, which seemed really cool back in the day, you know, because you'd be like, I'm doing this or I'm running this or whatever.
Yeah.
I remember like that used to always kind of be like a real weird thing that used to be brought up in dates. They'd be like, oh, like you're so put together. And I'd be like, am I? I get pissed 5 nights a week.
Yeah.
I might not be in college. That's only because I've dropped out twice. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I still very much live that lifestyle. But Oh, yeah. So the date that I went, the one that Tom called me on.
This
Oh, God.
McFlurry one.
Yeah, it was very bad. So anyway, he rocked on up. No McFlurries. He was like, I thought it was a nice day. I thought we could just go to the Phoenix Park. And I was like, okay, yeah, it was a nice evening. Because the whole idea is I was actually studying and he was like, come out, I'll take you for a McFlurry. Come on, you need a break, you deserve a break. And when I mean, lads, he was so fucking funny over text. I used to howl.
Right.
I would howl with this bloke. Howl. And I was like, he's not my type. I don't have well, I do have a type. I like beard and I like beards.
Yeah.
Glasses and I like dark eyes.
Yeah.
Which I didn't think I not liked, but I very much, that's what I like.
Our taste kind of changed though as well.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. I say that now, but like looking back, there's no correlation with any of the lads that I've been with. But it's just the thing that like I like dark eyes, dark hair, dark skin. Like
you'd love Adam. Better keep him away from me.
I know him. Yeah, but I love a little tan.
Yeah.
Like with a golden head. Do you know what I mean? I just think it's fab.
Yeah.
And so I remember just being like, he's not really my type, he's from the country, whatever else. Like, well, as it was the fucking weirdest date I've ever been on. It was like, you know, all that banter that you had over text just disappeared.
Oh, I hate that.
Disappeared. Ended up going to, if you know this person and you know who I'm talking about, I'm really sorry, but it was a really fucking weird date. But we ended up going to the park, which was grand, 'cause I was like, okay, right, we'll go for a walk in the park, whatever, that was fine. He was just so weird. He was like telling me about, he was from Limerick. And he was like, I'm just really well known in Limerick.
Oh, God.
I'm just like, I'm not used to it up here. Like in Limerick, I'm like, and like the bouncers know me.
Ugh.
Like people know me. I'm just not really used to the way. And he was working for Ernest and Young, I think. Either Ernest and Young or KPMG. He was a junior accountant. And I remember he was like, yeah, you know, like it's grand. He was like telling me about his salary. I was like, this is really weird. I'm 23. Like, and he was like, yeah, and it's just really weird living up in Dublin and like trying to make a name for yourself. And I was like, a name for yourself like in work? And he was like, no, like in Dublin.
What?
It was honestly, that's what I mean. It was the fucking weird. I was like, what are you talking about? I was honestly like, I'm in the middle of the park. It's broad daylight, thank fuck. This is so weird.
What?
Where is the ice cream? Where's my McFlurry?
Where? What? Did he want to be a socialite or what's the crack?
So it gets
okay,
worse. It gets worse. And I was like, so I don't get you. I was like, real like, I don't really know what you mean. He was like, you know, like Brian Dowling. I was like, yeah. He was like, I want to be known as like Brian Dowling's best mate. You know what I mean? Like they know me because they know Brian Dowling.
This
happened.
This isn't a visual podcast, but my face just dropped.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm not.
He
joking.
wanted to be Pippa O'Connor.
Yeah. Sorry, hon. That position's taken. It's my Pippa O'Connor.
It's Pippa.
So yeah, you can only imagine. I remember I was like, okay, cool. Can you fucking drop me back? So weird. It was honestly, and like, I mean, I put up with a lot of weird shit, and I did. Let's not lie, I did when I was younger. I put up with a lot of weird shit, but that was just probably the weirdest. And that wasn't even the tip of the iceberg. He said some other really fucking weird things as well, and I remember just being like, is this over yet? Oh
yeah, I can't. Well, see, I don't really have that much experience in the dating world, but I hate being in a general situation where it's like, when is this going to be over? Please just let it finish. I don't like it.
Well, I think that like if it comes to when you're talking about like dating and all those other kind of things, I'm very much like, you know, those kind of, you hear these phrases, but I'm very much an advocate of you lose them how you found them. I always feel that way, and it's always been proven to be like time and time again. So like if I lost him in the Phoenix Park, would I fucking find him somewhere with Brian?
Yeah. Oh god.
Oh, it was so weird. But yeah, so that I did. Yeah, that was definitely my worst date. I think that was definitely my worst date. There has been a lot of fucking weird ones, but that was
yeah,
up there.
Oh god.
Yeah, I can't remember, but I think I was stood up once.
Damn.
I think when I was younger, but I can't remember. You know, I can't remember if I was stood up or what the crack was. I actually can't. I remember one of my mates was like, "Were you stood up that time?" And I was like, "I don't think I was I?" And she was like, "I can't remember." She was like, "I just thought that you were," but I think I was like 14 or 15. You know, where you used to meet them at the Spire.
I can't
no,
say
you didn't
I
do that. No, you didn't. Oh, gosh, yeah.
You said this before on one of your on the Back in the Day podcast, I think.
You used to meet them at the Spire. Yeah, that was it. Yeah, that was the one.
Not a thing for me. Not for me.
Not for you. Right. Well, that's us. That's what we did.
Yeah.
Guys. So let's
just
hear
a
from
quick cue before we do go into the listeners' experiences. Do you think dating obviously dating has changed because it's...
The landscape is different.
It's, yeah, exactly. Do you think relationships have changed?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think there's so much more, like, in a way it's good, but in a way it's, like, in a way it's good as in 20% good, 80% bad, I'd say. But that's just because people do live their lives online now, and everything is that way. But another thing is you can kind of catch your fella out or you're burnt out.
Yeah, that's the thing that kind of petrifies me. Like, I trust Adam with every part of my being, but I would absolutely be petrified of going on Tinder and, you know, just even to be curious. Imagine seeing him on it.
But then at the same time, right? So imagine that happened. But then what if somebody set up that profile on purpose?
That's the thing.
I mean,
and that has happened. It's happened to Rosie Connolly a few times. She's up on Tinder.
Yeah, well,
under different names.
Like, I know for a fact, like, if Tom saw me on Tinder, he'd be like, that's not you. You know what I mean? He'd be like, I know that for a fact. Now, if I saw him on Tinder, I don't think it would be him.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like, I trust Adam. I don't think it would ever happen. But that was one of the things. Like, it's
but then
so
is that just such a cop-out excuse? You know what I mean? Oh, it wasn't me.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing. And, like, I think there's so much...
she's a psycho.
There's so much temptation out there as well.
But not even temptation. Temptation was always there.
Oh, yeah,
do you know what I
temptation was
mean?
there, but it's very easy to do.
It's very easy now to just... It's less about the straightforward cheating, I think, nowadays.
Yeah.
That's what's changed the most, right? When it comes to cheating in relationships and dishonesty in relationships. It's the the comment, the sly DM, the story reactions, the creeping.
Yeah.
It's now a thing called, I read, it was actually a fab piece. It was Wild Gal is her name on Instagram. It's Lindsay's sister. Lindsay from Michael's sister. Fiona, I think it's Fiona that wrote it.
Fiona Hamilton, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's Fiona that wrote it. And this thing, ghosting. So obviously ghosting is when you go on a date with someone or you're talking to somebody and they just out of the blue just drop you.
Yeah.
Just don't speak to them again. Sure, it's happened to us in different... Yeah, you're a ghost. But there's a thing now called orbiting.
Oh?
And orbiting is like where they ghost you, but they still check up on you on like social media, on your stories and stuff like that.
Fuck.
That's called orbiting now.
Oh, okay. That does make sense. Very good
terminology, yeah. And it was real like, oh my God, what does it mean? And I remember in that article, she was like, what does it mean? And her friend was like, it means absolutely fucking nothing.
Yeah. And
it is kind of like, and I know it's really hard to hear. I know it's really hard to hear. And sometimes I say this to my friends and like, I would have been Deva back in the day. But I've done a lot of, you know, relationship counselling for my mates because I think I've been with Tom the longest out of all my friends. Other than kind of on and offers.
Yeah.
We've been together the longest and I did a lot of fucking relationship counselling for all my mates. Still am for all my single mates. But if they don't want to be with you, they won't be with you.
Yeah.
If they don't want to talk to you, they won't talk to you.
Yeah.
If they're not talking to you, it's because they don't want to. It's not because there's something else going on. Like that's legitimately it. Looking back, all the times I'd be like, what if it's this? What if it's that? What if it's this? What if it's this? What if it's that? What if it's the other? What if it's all these different things? Like even Tom won't admit to me why he went cold on me for those 2 weeks.
Okay.
But he still is like, there was nothing, I was just really busy. I was like, me bollocks, you were seeing someone else for those 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Or you were texting someone else or you're doing something else.
And
he still, to this day.
And he's weren't even together and he still won't admit it. There's a lot to be said, especially for the people who are listening who are probably going through a breakup or who aren't in a relationship. Do you know what? Like, hindsight is the biggest fucking factor, isn't it? Yeah. That I always say it, if I could have a superpower, it'd be hindsight.
Really?
Because it's such, like, when you're in a situation where you're like absolutely fucking heartbroken and all you want to do is sleep and people are trying to make you feel better and all you want to do is be miserable and you're just like, fuck off, just let me cry, do you know what I mean? Let me just get this over. And obviously it's a cliche, but time is the best healer. So is hindsight.
Yeah.
Like, you need to step the fuck out of your shoes, look at the situation from an outside point of view. If you think like, oh, if everybody's telling you like, oh no, he or she is a prick, you shouldn't be with them, this is what's going down, like, you are much better off without them, and you're just like, no, I can't get them out my system, I wasn't ready. You need to just take a step back and think, what would it tell me mate if it was her? Do you know what I mean?
I know, but it's so tough when it's your own.
It's so fucking tough, I know.
Let me ask you this. Do you think, right, there's loads of different reasons for relationship breakdown. Infidelity isn't the biggest thing.
It's, yeah.
But it's a big thing. Do you think there is coming back after infidelity? After cheating?
Not really. We can never trust them again. And then, you know, girls, they will throw that back in their faces for the rest of time.
I just don't know anyone that it's worked out for.
No, there's always going to be that mistrust there. Like,
If you're somebody who it's worked out for, let us know. But I just don't know. I don't have a mate. I don't know anybody.
Yeah, and I
'Cause
can't
think it's just gone, isn't it?
Nah, and I can't think of any situation that would be, you know, like you could say, oh, it depends on the situation, but I can't think of any that would warrant kind of getting back together and working out after that.
Yeah, it's really weird because like there's a lot of girls that I went to school with or that were in the year below or the year ahead or something like that. And like they've been with their, you know, high school sweethearts and they still are, and they're kind of now starting to get engaged, and like they've ripped each other off.
Yeah.
Both parties. So I'm like, is it grand? Like they definitely have an idea because Castleknock's too small.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and Dublin's even smaller, but you know, when you're like, is it okay because there was two of you in it, or is it?
I don't know. Like, would it work out in the sense that, say, the two of you were absolutely sick of each other, and the relationship was probably felt like it was going nowhere, and you were just with each other for a little bit of, like, a bit using each other as a crutch. Do you know what I mean? That you just weren't admitting to the fact that you shouldn't be together. Then something happens, one of you or two of you go off cheat, and then you realise how good for each other you are. Could that be a situation that would work out in? Do you know what I mean? Where it was like an epiphany moment.
Yeah.
Do you know?
It was like, oh shit, that I actually needed that.
Yeah, to prove that I could.
But then would you not break up with them first?
I don't know. I think it is a big thing where people can get stuck in a rut, and they, like I said, use each other as a crutch because they just settle.
I don't think cheating just happens though. I don't think it's something.
I know,
think
it is built up. Like, you don't, unless if it's a one night stand off the back of a piss night in a nightclub.
But
which
still,
doesn't really.
It's more the idea was there.
Yeah.
Do you get me? Like, you wouldn't. I'm like I always say to Tom, like, what's the thing that you like the most about me? And he's like, that you're very loyal. And I'm a very loyal person. But it's just not, it wouldn't even come into my head. Do you know what I mean? So how do you go out? If it's never been in your head before, how do you go out, meet someone in a nightclub, sleep with them, and be like, oh, it was a drunken mistake? It would have been somewhere in your head. You would have thought about it at some point. Not with that person, obviously, but in general, you would have thought about it, no?
Yeah, you would have. Yeah. Like, I'd be the same. I have no interest in, like, I could see the most beautiful looking man.
I don't even know how.
I'd be no more interested in fucking trying to get his attention. Do you know what I mean? It's just not my thing. And like, through social media, and as well, like when I first started doing Snapchat, you would, like, there'd be fellas' names coming up or whatever. Now most of my like male followers are gay. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
they're like really young. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're not that.
They're not looking at me for eye candy anyway. I tell you that.
Or they're somebody's husband, and he watches me with his other half. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But like the fella's names would be coming up, and Adam would be kind of like, oh, that's a fella's name. Why is he sending you a message? And I can't even show him because it's Snapchat. Do you know what I mean? But I'm just like, oh, Adam, you've no idea how unfucking tempted I am by any of this. You know what I mean? Like, fellas would text me and be like, oh, I'd love to bring you out on a date, and I'm like, oh yeah, grand, thanks, can I bring my fiance? Do you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't entertain it whatsoever. I have no fucking interest in it, which is why I can't fathom why somebody would, because I'm just not in that headspace myself.
But then that's because that's your headspace. Whether it's like, I can see sometimes people, they almost look for the out, don't they?
Yeah.
So they're like, maybe if this happens and I do this or whatever else like that, like, this is kind of like, it almost gives them the courage to, but, you know, humans are shitty humans. Like, humans are shit by default, I feel.
Yeah.
You know, we are selfish creatures. We do things just for ourselves.
And also I feel like a lot of people in relationships will look to, like what Michael was doing on Love Island, gaslighting, blaming their significant other on their shortcomings to justify going off and being tempted and cheating and talking to other people and stuff like that. I cannot stand that bullshit. If you're going to do it, just fucking own it.
Yeah, and just be like, yeah, I did it, so else.
Yeah, sorry, I'm actually not that into it.
I'm actually
at the
a horrible
moment.
human.
Yeah.
Are you in Prick Advisor or any of those groups?
No.
They're so, like, they're not so funny, but they're so funny.
Right.
And it's all like,
Oh, they name and shame pricks.
they name and shame pricks, yeah.
Oh God, I wanted to think.
But I think they've had to stop naming and shaming now, but they'll just tell the story now, and they'll be like, watch out, Dan, 34, from Luke, and blah, 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 blah.
Oh, on Tinder,
said
like...
this, did this, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, gas, found out he had a wife or all this other shite, like. Isn't that mad?
It's mad.
But, you know, girlos helping girlos out.
I love that.
It.
I love that, because I do see on groups as well that we'll have to get onto people's experiences and opinions now, because we're going to get, like, kind of half an hour left.
Yeah.
Didn't realise we were going on this long stars. I'm in a couple of groups and I do see women, and they'll always post anonymously.
Yeah.
But they do be like, I need to know what to do. So this is after happening. I know this person. Her husband is actually gay, and he's after been going out with my friend, my gay best friend, for a while, and he has a wife and kids. And should I tell? Because on one hand, this is my gay best friend. On the other hand, this is the girl that I want to make sure she's safe and that she knows, and you know, all this kind of stuff. And I'm just like, what is the... I know it depends on the situation, but at the same time, what are your morals? Stick to the same one every time. I would personally, like, if I knew about a situation, I would like the girl to know, because I would like to know.
Well, so I've heard of, like, you know, girls going to, you know, say if Adam was ripping you off, and a girl going to you and being like, hey, just to let you know, Adam's ripping you off with my mate Linda. Do you know? I've heard of those situations. I'm sure you have. Yeah. I'm sure your mates have been in some and all that other stuff. And, like, I can't tell you one that's not turned out to be true. So I do find it hilarious how some girls' default is to be like, what?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? That's me fella, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
How would you know I was with him last night, blah, 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 blah. Like, guys are really, humans, guys and girls, we can be devious. Like, when we want to be, we can be really devious. And, like, even if I thought about it, I could probably cheat on Tom every day if I wanted to.
Yeah, and get away with it. No
bother to me. Like, actually, no bother to me whatsoever.
Yeah.
I've two phones. I have a work phone of my own phone.
That's true.
I could be doing whatever the fuck I wanted to. Do you know what I mean? So I do find it hilarious how, like, some people's, like, first instinct. So if you are in one of those situations, I'd always say, can I just get some proof first?
Yeah.
That's the first thing that I do. I'd be like, okay, how? Give me dates. Give me times. Let's align the schedule. Yeah. Let's have a look. Let's go through this. Let's go through that. But I would, like, if you are one of those people that have been in those situations, or sorry, not have been, because you've obviously dealt with it already, but might come into those situations in the future, that's just how, personally, that's my advice to you. I'd be like, go calm. Yeah. Go calmly. We can come back from calm. We can't come back from psycho screamer.
Yeah, that's true.
And that girl, whoever's trying to tell you, has totally lost respect for you. And you and your fella look like ticks. So yeah. I mean, there is that as well. That's just Carla's advice there.
Carla's bit
on my bits of advice. So we just recorded half an hour of content and it wasn't recording.
Absolutely raging.
Fuming. But thank God we've so many stories to go through.
Yeah. We read about it would have been about 4 stories out there.
4 bangers, belter ones. But anyway, fuck it, we'll get straight into it.
Run down. People still catfish.
People still catfish, unfortunately. I'll actually read one of them again because it's a good one. I've got one here. I've been to 3 weddings and expecting another from Tinder meets. I don't know why people are embarrassed / make up fake stories as to how they met. Also on Bumble, a friend reconnected with someone they were great friends with in school but moved away at 15. 15 years and various relationships later, it was mad how Bumble brought them together and it looks like it could last. Also, obviously, there's implications of superficial people being able to swipe based on one picture. That's how it works, etc. But superficial people will be superficial in real life too. So what difference does it make, really? I think that's a good point. I will say, I lied to all of my family about how I met Tom.
Did you?
Yeah, because, like, I wasn't going to sit down with fucking Ray and be like, we met on Tinder. Now I'd be like, yeah, because people know what Tinder is. But back then, there was, like, when we were growing up, internet dating was like a scary thing. Yeah. It was for, like...
That's where you meet
paedophiles. Yeah, it was where you met rapists and paedophiles. It wasn't like this thing that it is now. And obviously it's great. And, you know, I don't know... It is funny because, like, even my sister is like, I just couldn't meet somebody online. And I'm like, why? And she's like, I'd hate to tell my children that's how we met. Really? And I was like, okay, well, you're single still, so... God. And that's just how she feels about that. Yeah. And I guarantee you she'll probably end up meeting someone online.
Probably.
She'll break eventually.
I have one here. Myself and my old housemates became serious Tinder daters. For a while, we just loved the crack of it and going back to the housemates and throwing each other at all the goss and disasters. Used to have great fun generally, just go for a McFlurry. Just everybody going for the McFlurry. Well. Anyway, went on a date with a guy I met on Tinder and 2 years ago. Good fun with him. He ghosted me and kind of fizzled out. Anyway, long story short, met my now boyfriend through him and we're going out a year.
Stop.
Yeah, so she met. That's gas.
So someone ghosted you and you just leveled up.
And got with his mate.
I love that.
And they're together a year.
We love to see it.
We love to see it.
We love to see it.
Actual fuck you. Love it.
I've got a gas one here. Well, not a gas one, but a pretty tragic one. Arranged to meet for a drink at the pub halfway. Sorry, this reader has sent in 4. So
yeah. Okay.
Gas. So this was date number 2. Date number 1 was very bad. She got catfished by a guy who looked like a tramp, in her words.
Okay.
Date number 2, arranged to meet for a drink in the pub halfway between where we both lived. I arrived first, ordered myself a Coke. He came in, sat down, but he wasn't ordering himself a drink. So I said, "Are you not having a drink?" And he said, "Yeah, I'll have a pint." So okay, bought him a pint. Anyway, a short while later, there was no sign of him going to buy a drink. So I said, "Fuck this for crack." Made my excuses to leave when he said okay. But I've got no money to get home. The car's empty and needs petrol. Can you give me some money and I'll pay you back?
Oh my God.
Me being me, looked at my purse to see if I had a fiver and out in case he was genuinely stuck, and all I had was 20. So I felt bad and I gave him the 20. Never seen him or the 20 quid again. Cheap payoff to get rid of him in my book.
Yeah.
Gas. Date number 3. Talked for months, came down from Clondalkin for a date with me, spent the day, it was lovely. We kissed when we were going our separate ways. He said, "How do you feel about continuing to see me?" I said, "I would love to." Then he dropped the bombshell, he was actually married.
Oh my God.
And the old cliche that they weren't getting on.
Oh, gaslighting. Blamed her.
Lovely.
Yeah.
So number 4, started dating, chatted for 4 months before meeting, went out to dinner, went grand and met up again a few weeks later and went grand too. Then he booked us into a hotel in January. I told him that if we were going to be seeing each other, I wanted to see him a bit more than once a month. Anyway, we slept together for the first time that night and decided to make a go of the relationship properly. It was great. 3 years in and living with me, I found out he had lied from the start. False name, job and everything. I was devastated. We nearly broke up, but with some soul searching I realised his good points outweighed the bad, and 6 years later we're still together. I've not told my family the story because they adore him, but yeah, it's going okay now. But I'm always wary if he's lying to me. Although, to be honest, I've never really gotten over the fact that he started our relationship based on a pack of lies. In my view, if we ever finish in the morning, and I wouldn't online date again. And God be with the old days of old-fashioned dating. Nowadays, they only want a quick leg over. You know the saying, when you buy the cow, why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free?
Mm-hmm. That's mad. I want more information. I want to know, did he have a different family? Why did he give her a false name?
Yeah, please let us know. Please write, please, reader, listener, get in touch. I want to know more about that situation. Like, did he have lied as in just lied name and job, or lied as in had a separate family going on?
Yeah, what the fuck was that about? That's strange. Madness. I had one there as well, which I spoke about when we weren't recording. Just saying that it's like, even online dating is the same for a woman in her 50s. Her daughter messaged in and said, "Look, I'm after doing an application for first dates."
Yeah.
Which, best of luck with that. But she was saying, like, she's in her 50s and she gets messages off, like, 16-year-olds. She gets dick pics. She gets fellas who are married who just want to bring her off up to the mountains and for the ride.
Oh.
Like, imagine going through a marriage, your kids, your mortgage, going through a divorce and then having to put up with that shit.
I think as well though, like, I think you have to learn to be single again, don't you?
Yeah.
And it's something that terrifies me, obviously, being a commitment, having issues with commitment. It does terrify me in the way that, like, if me and Tom didn't work out,
yeah, what would you do?
I just don't know how would I be without him?
I know.
Like, I wreck his head day in, day out.
Fucking hell. Yeah, it will be hard. I've another one here. Online dating is hard work. Apps are just full of men with no respect for women who think it's okay to just send dick pics. If they whip them out in real life, they will be arrested. So why is it acceptable online? Very good point. So hard for girls who genuinely want to meet someone and are spoken to and treated like an object. So many people don't want to commit because the dating life has become so disposable. So easy to just pick up on the next person. There's my thought for the day.
But is that not the luxury of online dating as well? If it's not
is.
working out, you don't have to. You can do better.
Yeah, no, that is true. But I think what she means there is that like there are people who genuinely want to look for a relationship, and this is the way that they're doing it. And then you have people who just want to send dick pics and get the right.
Like, I do feel like there's a new one. My friend, like one of my friends, she's like serial Tinderella. Tinderella. And there's new ones now. And there is a new one where you put like what you're looking for.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's anything wrong.
No, there's nothing wrong with that.
With using an app for sex, as long as the other people are you just don't waste someone's time kind of thing.
Exactly.
Just look upfront. But then I do think that like, and obviously it's the same with men and women or women and men, but I do feel like sometimes we girls, because it does happen a lot to girls where it's like, all right, you up for the ride tonight, and you're like, no, but why do we get so offended?
Yeah.
You know, it's like maybe
true.
we need to kind of like just change our attitude and that and just be like, no, sorry, and then they're like, okay, grand.
Yeah.
Done.
But I think people do, because I have seen, like, I'm not on Tinder, but I have seen screenshots of, you know, people putting, like, profiles up or whatever, or other people's profiles up, and you can put whatever you want on your profile.
Yeah, no.
So, like, you could literally put on, do not text me if you're just looking for the ride, because that's not what I'm here for.
Yeah, true.
Do you know what I mean? Like, there is means of doing it. But then it's the people who are like, all right, yeah, looking for a relationship, and then they're the ones sending out, here, do you want to go for, do you want to go for a freak? Do you know what I mean? Like, do you want to go for a freak up the mountains?
Yeah, because I just think like sometimes I'm like there is you know, it's the same when it comes to like sex workers and prostitution and all that other kind of stuff. It's like, you know, if a sex worker wants to be a sex worker, then that's their prerogative. So I'm like, if that person wants to get the ride and use Tinder to do so, then that's fine. They just have to be honest about it and not like mislead people.
Yeah.
You know? Mm-hmm. So I do feel like that's that on that.
That's that on that.
But at the same time, I think people's problem with Tinder in the way that it has become more disposable is like sometimes, because lads can be a bit more flippant, they can kind of be like, well, fuck that, I'm not arsed having that conversation. But would that not happen in person anyway, you know?
Yeah.
But then you'd hate for someone to be like, well, I settled and stuck with this guy because he's the only one who replied.
Oh, yeah, no.
You know?
Yeah.
There's all that side to it too.
Yeah. There are a lot of people who settle as well. As they say, don't settle for someone you can live with. Wait for someone you can't live without.
Oh my god. Who fucking can? Oh my god. Just get out of here.
I love that motto. Shut up.
Alright, sorry.
I do like it.
Alright, okay.
I do.
You do you.
I will do me. I liked it. I put it into perspective. I have another one here. Hey, I met my amazing boyf on Tinder after a few mishaps on Bumble/Tinder. The guy I was seeing before seemed really nice, having a great time, being dating about 2 months when sadly my mum passed away. He was really good for a bit, but then pulled away massively until he called it, which in brackets she said is totally fine because my head was a mess anyway. But then my friend said she saw him on Bumble the week my mum had died, so he was obviously a dick in the first place.
Oh.
Yeah. So he was being a dick anyway. That's what my whole thing is. I'd be freaked out to go on to one of them apps and see somebody that I know. Do you know what I mean?
Well, funny. That happened to one of my friends.
Oh God.
Yeah, she was on a break with this is years and years and years back. Well, not on a break, but they were broken up, sorry. On a break, me bollocks, they were broken up, and
we were on a break.
And someone saw her on a site and one of his mates ended up texting her.
Oh God.
You're like, get off that now.
What?
Yeah. Fully.
Fuck.
Yeah. So, I participated in online dating, met some absolute randoms. A guy who was a trans girl but didn't tell me until we met up. This was pre-Tinder, I'm talking 15 years ago.
Okay.
But I do have a fairy tale. I met my wife. Yes, my wife. I sent her a message on a well-known site, completely out of my league, but I thought, fuck it. A day later, I got a message back and the rest is a fairy tale. We met up a couple of days later. Within the year, we'd met each other's families, fell madly in love. On our first anniversary, I proposed. We're quite spontaneous. Fast forward a couple of years, we're on the Rock at the Hell of Fire Club and we booked our wedding 90 days notice. I couldn't have found it more perfect if I tried the old-fashioned way. She's my best friend, my wife, my soulmate.
So she ended up... And she wasn't even considered herself gay before that?
I'm guessing not. If she was like my wife, yeah, my wife.
That's amazing.
Like, to be honest, I've heard of loads of that. I think it is funny because there are statistics and it's like I remember reading an article before and it's like men that are bisexual, it's the statistics are a lot like lower than women that are bisexual, because women have something in their brain that can actually separate, whereas men don't. You get me? Or sorry, men have something in their brain that's separated, whereas women are kind of quite fluid like that.
Yeah.
So that's what, because I do hear things. Like, I know loads of, like, a good few of, like, my friends and friends of friends and stuff like that have dated a girl sometime in the past. Do you know what I mean? So I do think that, like, and it seems to be a woman thing, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I just think, like, fucking make sure you're happy.
Yeah.
They make you laugh, they fucking make you laugh, and that's the end of that chapter.
Exactly.
That chapter, do you know what I mean?
Exactly. What do you think of open relationships? Because obviously relationships have changed now, kind of, like, in the last kind of 10 years.
Yeah.
You know, that whole, what is it called? You can be, like, asexual, you can be...
Asexual, pansexual, non-binary, gender fluid.
Yeah.
There's loads now.
Loads of them. And then open relationships is a big one as well.
They've always been there, though.
They have. They're just a lot more. They're spoken about a lot more now.
Who... Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith. They're in an open relationship. They're a very famous couple, obviously. It's fucking Will Smith. They're in an open relationship, and apparently that's just how it's always been. I think it's grand, but I think to be in an open relationship, you have to be a type of person, don't you?
Yeah.
Like, one of my friends, she had an open marriage. And unfortunately it broke down and they ended up getting a divorce. And I was kind of like, not in a bad way, but I was just like, why are you bothering then if you're in an open... Because I didn't understand. You know? So I was like, I don't get it. And she was like, why would I tie myself to that person if it's not working out between us anymore?
Yeah.
I was like, but you have an open... You know, I could not get my head around it.
Yeah.
Until she explained it to me.
I know, but I think because these things are still so new, and I think...
I don't think they're new, I think they're just spoken about.
Oh, sorry,
more.
yeah. They're, well, kind of a bit more on the front line.
Yeah.
Than what they used to be. I think it is one of those things where it's just like, no, you really do need to get it explained to you before you... Because otherwise, like, when I first heard about people with open relationships, I've gone, God, they're weirdos. Do you know what I mean? It's so funny how ignorant you can be before you know about something, like... Do you know what I mean? Because you even see there's, like, documentaries that Louis Theroux would do, and he'd go and live with people who are in open relationships, and you're looking at them going, fucking hell.
People have loads of wives and stuff like that.
Yeah. But until you actually, I think more so speak to somebody that you know that will explain it to you, I don't think you're going to ever have a proper understanding of it, and that's why...
Yeah, I was like, oh my God, I just thought she was so, like, she's Brazilian. She's fucking hilarious, like, just some of her stories and stuff. And I'd be like, so what would you do if you were going to be with someone else? She'd be like, I'd just be like, I'm out tonight.
Yeah.
Won't be home. I was like,
That's mad.
I was like, my little tiny Irish brain was exploding. I was just like, oh my God, this is madness. But now I'm just like, yeah, I think you can become a lot more liberal, can't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've become so much more liberal. Like, when I was younger, I'd be like, oh my God, that's crazy, that's gross, can you believe it? Oh my God, that's insane. Now I'm literally like, yeah, fuck it, like, if it makes you happy and if everyone's consenting, then off you go.
That's the main thing,
Yeah, if everyone's consenting, then sure, off you pop, why not?
Yeah. We have hit the hour mark, I think. Should we leave it there?
I think we'll leave it there. I want to just bring up last week's podcast on debt.
Jeez.
Not debt. It was like, we had such an amazing response when it came to that, and you know, me and Jen, we do try hard to kind of do different topics. We try to keep it light and then do something a bit more serious, and then keep it light and then do something a bit more serious. So, you know, I think it was probably one of the first ones that I was like, I fucking love this.
Yes.
I've always liked doing this, but I'm like, I fucking love having a podcast. Like, I love doing that, and we actually got that, like, wow factor from
last week's
one, as far as the response that we got back,
help wise. Yeah.
And obviously Miss Moneypenny, you big legend.
Big legend, thanks again.
Big fucking legend.
She we got one that really kind of touched our hearts.
Yeah, well, I think that, like,
somebody.
we've had loads of, and me and Jen love interacting with everybody. That's kind of like our social media thing anyway. That's our profiles, our solo profiles. So we love the fact that this has become like such a collaborative thing. Yeah. And we love, and really just want to say, really appreciate everybody who does get involved, because it's great hearing all these different stories. And, you know, if Miss Moneypenny hadn't gotten involved, what would that have looked at? You know, there's all those different things. You just never know, do you?
Yeah.
So I just wanted to say a little, I do these every so often, but I just wanted to say thanks.
Yeah, we stan you.
We stan. our listeners.
Stan our listeners.
You know, and it's amazing. Like every week we do this, we get more and more listeners, and it's actually
great.
incredible. And you know, me and Jen aren't one for boasting because I think it's pathetic, but it is great to see like which episodes you love, which episodes were ones that we felt were needed to be done, but weren't going to be ones that were, you know, big listeners or anything like that. But it's amazing to see how many people, like how many new people, I suppose, per week actually give a fucking flying shite. Like,
and they're hopping on.
Love that.
Love it.
Love that for us.
Absolutely love it.
Love that for us.
What are we talking about next week?
So next week, from the off of debt, we're going to be talking about death, as in DEATH.
Yes.
All
things death.
All things death.
The grief.
Grief piece. If you have had grief in your family, do you feel like there's enough support in Ireland when it comes to grieving, when it comes to groups, when it comes to, you know, your mental health afterwards, anything along those lines? I know this one's going to be a bit more of a personal one, but it's funny because when I was saying debt, we got loads of death messages in.
Yeah.
And then they were like, oh shit, oh, you're not doing that, maybe you should do that. And me and Jen were like, yeah, we will do that actually. We will. So it was kind of like an off little flippant thing. But whatever you guys, like whatever stories you have, whatever you think that can help somebody else, if you've used a group before that's really helped you, if you've found ways of coping with grief, if you've books, podcasts, anything like that
anything
really
that kind of motivates you out of the rut that you can get into after somebody passes away.
Because grieving is such a long it's a process that doesn't ever stop.
No.
So we'll do a little bad boy on that. So get it into us. And again, just thanks for
everything, lads.
Me and Jen are wrecked. I think you can fucking tell, but like
I'm going for Neddy Rockets now, of course I am.
Of course, yeah. It's the only food you eat.
Yeah. This baby is, I'm going to call him Eddie.
We've figured it out, guys. His name's Eddie. Eddie Hubbard.
Eddie Hubbard. Oh, I love it. All right, we'll talk to you next week. Bye.